that the comments section was just full of the most hateful ADL arrested. You'd be arrested if you called me those things today.
Talk about your start. Where did who are you? Where did you grow up? What's your background and the whole thing? I want to learn about you as a person.
Grew up in California, born, raised in California, right outside San Jose.
So Northern California.
Yeah. Was, just dipped in everything California for a very long time until started noticing things. And grew up very, very shy kid, but also rambunctious. And so just kind of led me to hanging out at arcades, playing video games. That's how I would connect with my brother was the opposite. My brother was one of these social dudes who could make friends on the like we would be on the bus on the way to the mall or something. Dude would make friends. And he would drag me around to other people's houses, and then I would latch on to the house that had the Atari or the house that had the Nintendo, and then we would just sit there in front of the glow and just play Commando and stuff like that all day long. And that's how I spent my childhood until I got deep into computers, and then I went to a whole computer nerd thing, and that's when I started watching the internet evolve and started learning how to network cards and getting into the internet, and then got exposed to people like you, man, watching you guys just blaze this trail with the internet 2.0. You guys were pioneers of content creating outside of mainstream media press, where you weren't going to get information from corporate overlords or laundered information. You guys could actually speak your mind. It blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, look at these dudes talking about stuff that I love in a way that we had never seen it before. And you were doing your own thing, and it just really messed me up in a real good way, man. I was a long period of time. I was hunting through a thrift store. I almost got divorced, man. My wife was like, "You better stop buying all of this stupid crap and bringing it home." Dusty Nintendos, beat up Nintendo 64s. And I'm in there. I'm in the garage. I should be in the garage working on like a car engine, but I'm in the garage cleaning out Nintendo transistors and stuff like this. And that kind of got me into making content. And so I made a video game channel on YouTube. Like when YouTube was before it got bought by Google, and then I had to go back to work, and then just got to a point in my work where I was like, this is real stupid. Like everything's stupid here. The people are stupid.
California,
stupid.
You mean?
What's that?
In California, you mean?
Yeah, in California. I was like, these people are all dumb. You know that meme where the dude is standing in front of the thousands and thousands of people, and he's like, "You're all wrong." That resonates in my head, because I was sitting there going, "You're all a bunch of dumb idiots. Like everything you say is stupid."
Well,
and
I'm sure that's kind of how you feel today. Sometimes you're dealing with the internet.
Yeah, well, I mean, so this place it's in a vacuum, and so everybody we're in a very it's a very chilling atmosphere. Like nobody wants to say anything that's going to get them in trouble. So no, it doesn't, like, you could be in a coffee shop, you could be no matter where you're working, you got all of these asshats all around you, and everyone's afraid to say anything. And I was like feeling really confined, and I was like, no, it's real simple. You guys are breaking this place. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go make my own business, and using the internet model for the business. And that took off, and it allowed me to make crazy content on the side in between clients. And then this group of ravenous berserkers just kept flooding the chat and making the channel bigger and bigger and bigger. And they were overcoming like the algorithm and the shadow banning and spreading. And I was like, holy, whoa, what is going on here? And it just became this rambunctious part of the internet that is a hell of a place to hang out.
All right, I want to back up real quick, because you're talking about your time with video games, right? And this is a gaming and entertainment podcast. We touch on pop culture extensively and kind of the culture creep that's creeping into video games. But I want to learn more about your time playing. What'd you play growing up? You mentioned Commando, right? That's the old NES game. What was your number one? What was your best favorite console and game?
Wow. I mentioned Commando because that was the first time I saw a Nintendo, and the first time I saw a Nintendo, I was like, I'm 40 something years old, and I still remember the first time I saw a Nintendo at my friend's house because I was like, this is this is supposed to be at the arcade. Like, what is this doing in your house? And it's
Right.
tiny. It's like the size of a VCR. VCR. And so the Nintendo will always have a place in my heart. A lot of people had like I had family members who had Ataris. Listen, Ataris are important. But the Nintendo was a massive leap. But the first console that I ever bought on my own was a Nintendo 64. And so that's always going to have a place in my heart because it was the first time where I didn't have to beg Santa or my brother and I, we would combine our birthday gifts, even though our birthdays are on the opposite end of the calendar. And we would be like, listen, we'll be real good boys this year if you just get us a Super Nintendo. And the Nintendo 64 was the first time I was like, nope, I'm going to ride my bike to Walmart and I'm going to buy this with the money that I earned cutting lawns. And so that console and GoldenEye, I played GoldenEye endless hours. And it was probably the first game that I ever recorded on a VCR, took to my high school, and then used the equipment to edit like a real stupid video. And so, yeah, definitely Nintendo 64.
That's hardcore, man. I love it.
Nerd!
Yeah, nerd. So wait, okay. Do you have a Switch?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw it, so you know you can download GoldenEye 64 on the Switch now. Yeah.
I have GoldenEye. I'm playing GoldenEye on my refrigerator. I have hacked my refrigerator to run RetroPie, and I am playing Street Fighter 2, NBA Jam. I'm playing all that good stuff on the I'm playing all that stuff on my fridge.
Love it, man. That's outstanding. I love it. So you actually started a gaming channel, and it didn't pan out very well. Like, was like Screw Attack, AVGN, were they like your inspiration back in the day to kind of get started? And so what was your shtick?
No, you guys really just kind of cracked open this whole nostalgia thing. And so I'd watch you guys, I'd watch your top tens, I would watch all of your stuff. And then all of your you guys were like a production company. So you guys like AVGN was part. So I'm sitting there going, oh my God, like I could get a Neo. When I was a kid, you would see a Neo Geo in a magazine. And a Neo Geo was like $1 billion to a kid.
Right.
Like you're sitting there going, you're in a Snicker bar going, nobody on my block could afford a Neo Geo. Nobody had anywhere near that thing. And then, but I'm like going to work and I've got a corporate job and I'm sitting there going, I could probably find one of those on eBay. And I did. And I went crazy. And so I was just recording it. I was like, hey, look, I had one of those, like a flip camera. It was early 2000s, so you could buy like little camera. It was a stupid camera, but anyway. And I would take it. I would go to thrift stores. I would record. Like I was like, oh, this is so stupid. And that's part of the reason why I stopped doing it was because I ran into early YouTube, probably still YouTube today, but early YouTube, the comment section was so brutal. And so you would sit there and you'd be like, look at this Nintendo. I remember I found a Nintendo and it had a free game in it. I was all excited because there was a free game. It was like Arkanoid or something. It was something stupid. It's just like a 12-cent video game or something like this. But like, free stuff, man. It's a $20 bill that you find in your pocket. You get excited.
Right.
And the comments section was just full of the most hateful ADL arrested. You'd be arrested if you called me those things today. And I remember going, damn, this is insane. Like, I just wanted to share that I found Arkanoid, man. And I was like, I was embarrassed, I guess. I was like, oh, there's people making fun of me on the internet. And I just kind of pulled right back into, that kid on the elementary. I went right back into my locker. I was like, all right, I'll just hide in here.
That's so funny. I mean, I love that. But we had this rule back in the day where anytime we'd bring on anybody new to our team, they weren't allowed to look at comments for 2 weeks because we knew people were going to roast them. Right.
Yeah.
And like, in retrospect, it's really like fucking stupid to think that way. But at the same time, like you would think that people would be civil and understand that, but at the same time, our audience at the time, they were, teenagers, or early 20s. And honestly, a lot of shitheads. That when you're a teenager, you're just a giant shithead asshat, right? And you want to be edgelord on the internet and tell everybody how much they suck. So yeah, that was, we were very conscious of things like that. And it's funny to hear that story, that all of a sudden, you got pushed back into your shell by these mean comments on the internet. And now here you are, blazing out with both fingers, middle fingers out, saying "fuck you," and I love it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a, 15, 20 years ago on the internet. I mean, we were in the Quake lobbies, writing these words out and sending them, in the lobbies. And there's a bunch of, I don't know, probably 20, 30-year-old, no, not 20-year-olds, but it was the internet from a content creator position back 20 years ago was a brand new thing. And so um, I used to have a little bit of empathy for people going through it now, but I mean, it's at this point, if my thing is, you need to be able to overcome that. The world's not a nice place. There's this notion that we could all be best friends and kumbaya each other under the glow of the moon, and everybody could be besties. It's just a stupid, naive way of going through things. You need to go on the internet. You need somebody to attack you. You need to be called the most vile things in the world, and you need to overcome it. And the world today is just full of all of these lunatics. We're like, no, if you give us more money and more power, we can silence all of those mean people. But no, you're the mean person. You're the meanest people on the planet. You guys are insane.
Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Would greatly appreciate that, so you can find more clips on the channel. And of course, come join us live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time for our live Side Scrollers podcast. We would love to see you there.